have two sides. You have one side that says diameter of log at small end, and it has no picture on it. But I want you to flip to the other side. And if you look right where my finger's at, you'll see there's a little picture. It's a shield that says North Carolina Forest Service. Just like my hat, just like this right here. Y'all see that? That is the side you're going to be using today. So if you start getting confused or seeing things that aren't working out, make sure first off you're using the correct side of the stick. Okay. Now this stick is going to help us do a couple things. First off, it's going to give us the thickness of a tree, or the diameter. Okay? The other thing it's going to do, it's going to help us find the height of a tree, or what the merchantable height is. Now, we're not looking at total height with these sticks. I don't think so with Envirothon. I know with Forest Service, FFA, we're looking at merchantable height, unless y'all can tell me different. Okay, so I know with, when we do training with FFA and Forest Service, it's normally an 8-inch top or where it gets really limby. So if that sounds like the same thing, we're probably on the same page. Okay, so let's start off first with the thickness of a tree, the diameter. Okay, remember and if you forget, you can always go back to DBH, diameter at breast height. So the side we're going to be using, again, for both of these, has the symbol on it. So my goal is I want to go to a tree and find out how much wood is in it. Because that's ultimately what this stick is telling us. How much wood is in the tree?
Lydia, hey,
if you have a stick in your hand, you need to be listening. If you're not listening and you're talking, you can give that stick to somebody else, okay? Because this is really important stuff if you're actually going to be doing this Envirothon. Now, the end result of this stick is you're trying to find out how much wood is in that tree. Now, when we talk about how much wood is in a tree, what term do we use? Yes. Well, that's one of them. Absolutely. That tells us how many segments are in that tree, but actually how much wood is in that tree. We use the term board feet. Okay? And oftentimes, if you even look at this stick, this will actually, it gives you all the instructions and everything on it. But board feet, if you think about one single board foot, it's a measurement 12 inches across, 12 inches down, basically a square, and 1 inch thick. So 12 by 12 by 1 inch thick. That is one board foot. That's what we're looking for. How many of those are in that tree that we can use for wood, whether it's paper products or wood products or something else, okay? And in order to get that measurement, we have to get the thickness of the tree and the merchantable height. Again, merchantable height is not the total height. You're not looking at the tip top of the tree. You're looking at where things get really limby, or you get to what's called an 8-inch top. And if you think like, I don't know, big coffee can is an 8-inch top. You can even go around and find a tree that's 8 inches close by and get that in your mind's eye. But we'll do one thing at a time. I'm just giving you the synopsis. All right, so what I'm going to do, let's go over to a tree. If y'all want to follow me, we're going to do a demonstration on this tree. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is try to find out the diameter of this tree, how thick it is from this side to this side. In other words, all the way through. I'm not trying to figure out the distance around the tree, but in a straight line through that tree from this side to this side, okay? This stick can do that. If you look at the Biltmore stick with the North Carolina Forest Service, you'll see 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is actually measuring the thickness of that tree. But as you go further down the stick, if you notice, those numbers are actually closer together. So basically you're using a triangle. This stick is doing all the measurements and all the calculations and all the trigonometry and all that fancy stuff. And all you have to do is this. First off, DBH. I need to know where that's at the tree. So that's why it was important for you to do that. I'm going to locate where that's at on that tree. All right? Somewhere around there. Next, this stick works by being 25 inches away from your eye. Okay? Now, the letter of using the stick is you're supposed to be exactly 25 inches away, and your eye's also supposed to be 4.5 feet. That's not practical. It really isn't. Especially if you're doing it all the time. It's hard to go like this, and you obviously can't jump up to get there. But 25 inches away from your eye is 25 inches away from your eye. Whether you have a ball on a string and it's up there or down there, you're still going to see the thickness of the tree by using it that way. So for today's purpose, as long as you're 25 inches away from that, whether you're down there or up here, you're still 25 inches away from that thickness, okay? All right, so 25 inches. Then I'm going to put the stick flat against the tree. Again, I'm looking at the same side that has the Forest Service shield, and I'm going to move this stick. Now, you're using one eye when you do this too, not two eyes. You're using one eye, so make sure you decide which eye you're going to use. Right, left, it doesn't matter, just keep using it. Put the stick flat. Now, I'm going to line this side of the stick with the edge of this tree. I'm just using my eye. And then I'm going to look at this edge of the tree, follow it down, and see where it lands on these numbers. And that is going to give me the thickness of the tree, the diameter. Now let me ask you this, are trees perfectly round? No. So if you want to get even more accurate, you can step around 90 degrees and do it again. And let's say I get a number first time it's 10 and the next time it's 12. You'll take an average of those two to get the best number. If they're close, just stick with that number. Now the more you do that, step it around again, the more accurate you'll get. But most of the time, if you do it just twice, take two measurements on a tree and take the average, that'll give you the best, the most accurate for your time. Okay, so it's real easy. Starting again, got my stick, North Carolina Forest Service. Here we go. Walking up to the tree. I know where my 4.5 feet is. Boom, I'm looking here at 4.5 feet. 25 inches. Boom, I'm sticking it right there. I'm using one eye, I'm not moving my head. Flat against a tree. Lining up this side of the tree with the edge of the stick, not moving my eye. Lining the right side of this tree up, finding out where it lands on the tree, and I've got a diameter. That simple. Step over here again, do it again. 4.5 feet, 25 inches, flat, lining this side up to the edge, lining the right side up to where it lands on the stick. Now I've got it down. Okay? Now, a lot of talking. Now it's time to practice a little bit. And this is where you can spread out. There's trees over there, there's trees along here. Just watch out for traffic. Myself and Ranger Joe are going to be here. We can help you all out walking around. But that's all we want to do right now is find out how thick that tree is. And remember your number, okay?